So when you think about Jeffrey Epstein's private island, Little St. James, your mind probably goes to wealth, power, and just some really dark secrets. But right at the center of it all, literally at the heart of the mystery, is this one bizarre building that has fueled speculation for years. Okay, let's dive into this and try to figure out what we actually know about Epstein's temple.
Picture this, a 78-acre private paradise in the Caribbean. And perched on a cliff is this thing. It was, without a doubt, Epstein's most controversial and, frankly, most puzzling addition to what was already a very strange private kingdom. Right from the start, this building just defied any easy explanation.
So it all boils down to one question, right? What was it for? Was it, like some people claimed, just a fancy music room? Or was it something else entirely? The epicenter of the horrific things that we know happened on that island? That's the question we're really going to dig into.
To really get the temple, you first have to get the island. So back in 1998, a then 45-year-old Jeffrey Epstein, a multimillionaire whose origins were, let's say, murky, buys Little St. James and starts turning it into his own personal fiefdom.
Now, what's wild about this isn't just the scale, the luxury villas, a staff of 70 people, it's the eccentricity of it all. Epstein added these bizarre touches all over the place. A giant sundial that had some weird Masonic vibes, bathtubs just sitting outside, and even a huge statue of a cow that the staff would apparently move around the island as a running joke just to make it look like it was grazing. Okay, so let's zoom in on the temple itself, because if the island was strange, the temple was on a whole other level. Almost every single detail seems contradictory, almost like it was designed to mislead you.
And the weirdness starts with the official paperwork. The plans he submitted to the local government back in 2010 were for an octagonal stone building called a music pavilion. But that's not what he built. What actually went up was a taller, box-shaped building that wasn't even made of stone. So right off the bat, you have to ask, why the deception? Why lie on the plans?
And then there's this little detail, which was confirmed by some YouTubers who actually snuck onto the island after Epstein died. You see that big, grand wooden door with the metal bar? It's fake. It was just painted on. An optical illusion. A building with no obvious way in. I mean, that just adds a whole new layer of mystery, doesn't it?
So, with a setup this bizarre, of course the theories started flying. And they ranged from the totally plausible and mundane to the deeply, deeply disturbing. Let's walk through the 6 most common explanations for what this temple was actually for. So on one end, you've got the simple stuff. It was an exercise room or a music pavilion. Then you get into the much more sinister ideas, that it was a holding cell for victims, that it was just a big prank to mess with people, a place for rituals, and we will get to that, or even some kind of high-tech sensory room for a drug-free psychedelic trip. Let's put 2 of the biggest theories side by side. On the one hand, a piano tuner actually confirmed there was a grand piano inside, which definitely backs up the whole music room idea. But then there's the dank brain theory, which gives it a much darker spin. It suggests the soundproofing and the music weren't for fun, but were part of a psychological conditioning system designed to make victims more docile and compliant.
But all this speculation, all these theories, they were pretty much blown wide open by the testimony of one woman, a witness known only as Jane Doe number 8. Her account, from a 2017 deposition that is heavily redacted, is the most chilling description we have of what might have really gone on inside that temple. Jane Doe number 8 said that Epstein had talked about his sanctuary for years before he ever built it. She describes it as having some kind of special layout and a feature that was accessed through some feat of engineering. You see all those black bars? Every single one of them is hiding a crucial detail, but what's left is just incredibly ominous. She then tells this story about one night when she couldn't sleep. She saw pulsing lights coming from the temple and started walking towards it. As she got closer, she heard these low, rhythmic sounds. She's clear it wasn't shouting, and she smelled something strange in the air. Again, the key words are completely blacked out. And this is the climax of her story. She peeks inside and sees the room draped in dark cloth, lit by red candles. In the center, there's some kind of polished stone object, and on it, she sees something she says she doesn't fully have the words for. Whatever she saw was so disturbing that it made her flee the island the very next morning and never, ever go back. Now that testimony is incredibly powerful, but all the redactions leave us grasping in the dark. It really highlights the central problem of this entire story.
trying to find the truth when all the evidence is incomplete or contradictory or just intentionally hidden from us. This question really forces us to think about how we piece together the truth from just fragments. And this isn't just a modern problem with redacted court documents. It's a challenge that goes back centuries. To get what I mean, let's look at a fascinating, if surprising, parallel from the world of ancient texts. So check this out. This table shows how one single original Bible verse can splinter into different accepted truths over time. In these old Ethiopic manuscripts, one group of scribes translated the verse literally using the word crucified. Another group translated the meaning behind it using the word dead. And a third group, probably trying to be faithful to both, just mashed them together. It's a perfect academic example of our problem with the temple. When you're faced with an incomplete source, your interpretation, your intent, it creates entirely new versions of the truth. And just like with those ancient texts, the story of Epstein's temple is being rewritten right now, today. The physical evidence is literally being erased, while the debate over what it all meant and who is responsible is just getting more intense than ever.
The new owner, who is planning to build a luxury resort there, has already whitewashed the temple, painting over its distinctive blue stripes. It's an attempt, maybe, to just erase a really dark history. But you can't erase the questions that easily.
And with no clear answers, people start looking for explanations in these bigger cultural debates. You see this online, where the divide is really sharp. On one side, you have people connecting the abuse to specific conservative structures that they argue can enable predators. And on the other side, the counter-argument is that abuse is a universal human problem that has nothing to do with any single ideology.
So in the end, that temple is really the perfect symbol for this whole horrifying saga. We are left with so many more questions than answers about his money, his powerful friends, his death, and his real role in this global network of exploitation. Just like its fake door, the story of Epstein's temple offers the appearance of an answer, the illusion of an answer, but ultimately it leads nowhere solid, leaving us all to wonder what horrors truly remain locked inside.